my beautiful little unicorns, and welcome back to my channel. If this is the first time that you're on my channel, I'm Vanessa Samaina and welcome to the fam. You guys, the amount of requests that I have gotten to make another one of these videos. So it is finally here. Today's reading is all about who you are going to end up marrying. So you guys, I have 4 groups prepared for you, and I would like you to pick one of these 4 groups intuitively. So just go with whatever mineral sort of resonates the most with you. So if you just need a minute to meditate on the 4 groups in order to make the right choice for you, feel free to pause the video right here in order to do so. So regarding the groups, we have the Kyanite, we have the Rhodochrosite, we have the Amber, as well as the Fluorite. As usual, the timestamps will be down below, so you can fast forward to your reading once you've made up your mind on which group you would like to choose. And also, I just wanted to put it out there that you may feel drawn to 2 groups. So if that is the case for you, there's no shame in that. Feel free to tune into 2 readings because your perfect partner may be a mixture between 2 readings. So at this point, I could ask you to subscribe to my channel, but I don't want to do that. I want you to tune into a reading, maybe 2 readings, however many you feel that resonate with you. So if you feel like you resonate with my vibe and you feel like you really like my videos, like they uplift you and you find them insightful, then make sure that you subscribe. And for all my beautiful unicorns who are already subscribed, make sure that you give this video a thumbs up, as well as let me know which group you ended up choosing. So yeah, guys, I'm really looking forward to these 4 readings. I love doing love readings. I'm super nosy as to what's going on in your lives. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to get into the readings, and I'm going to start off with the first group, which corresponds to the Kyanite. So group number 1, you chose the Kyanite. So before I get into your reading about this person, who this person is, I just want to talk to you about why you may have chosen the Kyanite, specific reasons, aside from the fact that this stone looks kick-ass, beautiful, and amazing. So the Kyanite is for anybody basically who is kind of restless, anybody who maybe feels like they're being drowned in mental noise or just noise that's happening in society. So you know, when there's drama happening in the world and you totally miss how many people are suffering just because there's so much noise going on. So this is for anybody who feels like they kind of need to declutter the noise and reconnect with truly being able to be calm and, you know, not always so anxious and uneasy in their minds. Okay, so first off, we have celebration as well as letting go. So group number 1, what I see for the person that you're going to marry, I definitely see in celebration that this person is somebody who likes to go and have fun. This person is somebody who likes to have a good time and celebrate, and they're never going to leave an opportunity out where they can have a good time and get together with the people who they love. So group number 1, if you are more of a homebody, if you're somebody who likes to just stay at home most of the time and just do some Netflix and chill, this person might be an amazing yin to your yang. This person may be that force that you need to get you out of your pajamas and out of your bed, out of your apartment, just to get you to, you know, do more stuff out in the open with other people and to socialize a little more. And in letting go, I can see that your future partner, your future husband or wife, is somebody who may struggle with letting go. So I feel like this may be somebody who, when you hurt them, they may be butthurt for a little while, or, you know, it just kind of like there's somebody who, when you betray them, they have a hard time letting go. So I definitely see that your future spouse, your future husband, wife, the person that you're going to marry, somebody who you need to be careful with. Like, you don't want to do anything to deeply hurt their feelings. So you're definitely going to want to get to know them really well on a level where you know what hurts them, what irks them, what puts them in a spot where it may be difficult for them to let go. So I definitely see that your future spouse is somebody who is really sensitive, who is really connected to their emotions. And I definitely feel like, you know, while they are really happy-go-lucky and love to celebrate, they're also somebody who needs you to truly understand them in their purest form and understand what it is that they are okay with dealing with and what it is that disappoints them and may sort of cause a rift in the marriage. So moving forward, we have adventure as well as possibility. Then we have freedom and compassion. Okay, so group number one, I definitely see that the person that you're going to end up in a marriage with, I definitely see that there's somebody who is super adventurous. There's somebody who doesn't mind doing things differently. And there's someone who has maybe traveled a lot or moved a lot to different locations. Either way, they're super worldly, and there's somebody that you will be able to travel with, to move around with, and just to live a really adventurous life. So I definitely see like adventure is something that they're not opposed to, and I definitely feel like they're like the person to bring you out of your comfort zone. So I definitely feel like the fact that celebration and adventure showed up in your reading is no coincidence. I definitely feel like your future spouse is somebody who gets you from just being comfortable and doing Netflix and chill all night long. And in freedom, I feel like your future spouse is somebody who loves to live wild and free. You know that song, like Young, Wild and Free? That's what comes to mind when I think of your future spouse. So I definitely feel like they cherish their freedom. They're somebody who is super independent, and they're really proud about that. That's something they would never want to give up. Like, their independence is so important to them and is something that they really cherish. And it may be that your future spouse has been in a relationship where they were maybe really unhappy, or they felt kind of trapped, or they felt like the person who they were with didn't really get them and sort of confined them to this little space. So group number one, definitely watch out that you give your future spouse enough space, that you give them the freedom that they need, not just the freedom that they want. This is freedom that they truly need in order to make them feel comfortable, in order to make them feel good about themselves and not feel like super confined, just to make sure that they don't feel super confined and then end up rebelling in a way that, you know, causes rifts and causes situations that are less than pleasant. So in possibility, I see that your future spouse, your future husband or wife, is somebody who has come from a deep, dark place. Okay, they've been in a place where they were insecure, where they were not so sure about themselves, where they had really low expectations. And I see that they then realize, like, hey, I don't need to live life this way. I have endless possibilities, I have endless potential, and that is something that I need to work with, and that is something that I need to make the best of. So I definitely see that your future spouse is somebody super inspiring, somebody who has had a story that is not the easiest in life, and they've definitely come from a place where they thought that they were lesser than, to a place where they're now, where they're raising their standards, where, you know, they know who they are and they know who they want to be. And in compassion, I see that your future spouse is somebody who has a really, really compassionate streak, more than the average person. They're super gentle. They do forgive as long as you don't like piss them off in the wrong situation with the things that hurt them, as already mentioned. And I see that they can always see the best in others. They always see the light. They always see the good things in other people. And compassion is like their strong suit. It's their strength. It's something that they wish they may have gotten a lot more growing up or in earlier stages of their life, and instead of being bitter about it, they ended up, you know, being more compassionate towards the people who are close to them and more compassionate towards those who they love. So group number one, that is where we are so far. Let's move further into your reading. So we have teaching, we have body work, then we have Uranus, as well as the Virgo. So your spouse may be a Virgo, but either way, I definitely see that the energy around them is super like humble, super dutiful, and I see that they're really like diligent. So your future spouse is somebody who, when they have a task at hand, when they have something that they need to do, they will go over it over and over and over again until they actually get it done right, until they get that desired result. So know that you will end up with somebody who is very kind of like a perfectionist, if you will. They're somebody who like to do things to a certain standard, to a high standard. So they may be like really tidy, they may be really good at their job. Either way, I definitely see that their profession is something where they're teaching other people, something where they inspire people and people learn from them. So obviously the simplest and most obvious profession that we have is a teacher, but there are so many professions where people have a role where they teach, where they show people new things and they help people like gain and acquire new skills. So I definitely see that your future spouse is somebody who works on improving others, who inspires others. And I also see that their life purpose involves some sort of like body work, some sort of like exercise, training, like healing. So I definitely feel like the fact that there's somebody who teaches and the fact that they have to do with body work sort of leads me to think that your future spouse may be teaching something that has to do with, you know, your body, your soul, a holistic approach, mental health. So group number 1, that is what your spouse is like so far. In Uranus, I see that your spouse is somebody who is very much okay with sudden change. They're very adaptable. They're somebody who has gone through a lot of stages in their life where they've been enlightened, where they've been taught to know better, where they've been taught new lessons, and they're really open to it. So if you're somebody who is super spiritual and you're worried that it may be hard to find a spouse who feels the same way, I don't want you to worry. I want you to know that there are a ton of people out there who may not be super spiritual themselves or may not know a lot about it, but you can teach them. They're able to learn and they're super open and willing. So that is what I see in your spouse, group number 1. So overall, I definitely feel like your future spouse is somebody who is pretty well-rounded, somebody who has a lot to say, who has a lot to teach other people. They're of a certain service in their job, and I definitely see that, you know, they like to have fun, they like to be out there, go on adventures and push the limits, get out of their comfort zones. Your future spouse, if they are still in the making, they may still be in this space where they haven't elevated their expectations, where they're still sort of not sure of how much potential they truly have. But by the time they're ready for you, by the time you get with your future spouse, they will have recognized that they have endless possibilities in their life and that there's somebody who is deserving and somebody who is of value. So group number 1, that is the reading that I received for you. I hope you found it insightful, and I will see you in my next video. Hello, group number 2, and welcome to your reading about your future spouse. So you chose the Rhodochrosite. So first off, a little something about why you may have chosen this stone, apart from the fact that it is gorgeous, obviously. So moving into your reading, why you may have chosen the Rhodochrosite may be because you're somebody who needs to soften their heart. You're somebody who may be grieving, who may have gone through something like really tough when it comes to like how you feel emotionally. And it's important for you to know that even if you have this heavy feeling on your heart, even if you feel, you know, a little down, it's not a reason to be hard on yourself or to be horrible with yourself. Like, soften your heart when it comes to you, if you know what I mean. So let's move into your reading. Okay, so we have moving forward as well as illusion. So group number 2, what I see regarding your future spouse and who they are, I definitely see that there's somebody who is always ready for positive change. They always want to move forward, push forward, which leads me to believe that they have a super strong work ethic, and there's somebody who is very much willing to move on from any sort of confrontation. They're very non-confrontational. They don't like confrontation, and they just want to be happy-go-lucky, positive, and in a good headspace. So group number 2, I definitely see that this person is positive and they want to move on from any negativity. They're focused on their work and they like to embrace the truth, okay? In illusion, I see that they're not somebody who is here for fakery. They're not somebody who is okay with anybody who is dishonest. They're definitely somebody who likes when the truth is being told, and a full truth, not a half truth. So if you're telling a story, they want to hear the full story. They don't want any details being left out that are important to the story that maybe make you not look very good in your opinion. But they don't judge, they just want to know the truth. So I definitely see that your future spouse is somebody who may have been deceived a lot in the past, who may have been lied to a lot, and it has made them this person who is very weary of any sort of illusion, who is very weary of any deceit and lies. So if they're difficult to get to know, or they sort of give you a hard time with trusting at the beginning, that is something that you shouldn't take to heart. It's not something that you should feel any way about, because you know, they're just trying to deal. They're just trying to recover with what has been done to them in the past. So moving forward, we have rebirth, we have dance, we have discernment, as well as receiving. So first and foremost, I see that your future spouse is somebody who likes to move their body to music. They're somebody who likes to just go with the rhythm of life, and they're possibly like really into dancing. So maybe they're really into dancing themselves, or dancing is just something that they find really beautiful and have always wanted to learn or try and do. So I definitely see your future spouse being somebody that you can find on the dance floor. And that doesn't mean that they're a good dancer. They just like to move their body to the rhythm. They just like to be like sort of one with the music. They're somebody who's very in touch with music and how it makes them feel. And in rebirth, I see that they have gone through a reinvention. So I definitely feel like your future spouse is somebody who was a totally different person before you met them, who is somebody who had to create a new reality for themselves, who had to sort of realize like, hey, I can't be this childish anymore. I can't be this person that I used to be. Like, I need to be mature. I need to be somebody who has their head on their shoulders. So I definitely see that your future spouse has really come into themselves. They've really matured a lot. They've really gone from, you know, being like a little kid to somebody who is actually ready to be a spouse. So I definitely see that through this rebirth, they have learned a lot about themselves. They're somebody who, whilst they have reinvented themselves, they've always kept this sort of streak about them that has remained the same, being them being super positive, and honesty is imperative to them. And in discernment, I see that not everything is what it seems on the surface. I see that there's somebody who keeps a lot of secrets at the beginning. So they want honesty from you, but they're not gonna throw everything out there. They're not going to let you know every ounce and every inch of them until they are 100% sure that you're trustworthy and you are the one. So don't take this the wrong way, group number 2. They are just protective of their feelings, as they have been burnt before, and it's just so important for them to keep certain parts to themselves. So I definitely feel like your future spouse is somebody who appears differently than they truly are on the inside. So maybe you find them to fit into this stereotype mold on the outside, but who they are on the inside is completely different, is, you know, everything that we've spoken about, and nothing that has to do with any stereotypes whatsoever. And in receive, I definitely see that your future spouse is somebody who has maybe difficulties with receiving. I definitely feel like your future spouse is somebody who is very prideful, who likes to do things by themselves. He or she doesn't like asking for help. So you're gonna have to sort of like feel it out when they need help from you, when they need you to say like, hey honey, can you help me out with this? Can you help me out with that? You have to be the one who sort of comes to them and asks them, you know, what they need or if you can help them, as receiving may make them feel a little bit uncomfortable. And it's maybe something that you can relate to, you know, when somebody wants to do something for you. It's not always easy to go out and ask when you're trying to get something, if you guys know what I mean. But you guys always know what I mean. Like, why do I even say that? So moving on, we have light and love and creative expression. So group number 2, I definitely see that your future spouse is somebody who has whose life purpose entails healing. Their divine purpose entails bringing love and light to this world in whatever it is that they do. So I definitely see that what they do helps people. What they do brings sort of like positivity into this world. So I definitely feel like they have an important role in a lot of people's lives. And in creative expression, I see that their soul is always out to express itself creatively. So as we had in dance, they're very much connected to music. That is something that they're really into. They love to just dance to the beat. And in creative expression, I definitely feel like, you know, that meshes really well. So on the side, they may love to express themselves with music. They may love to sing, dance, write, sort of like compose songs, or, you know, it may be completely different creative expression. Maybe they love to write poems, homes. Maybe they're really into cars. I mean, it could be anything really, but the most important thing for you to know is the fact that they're always there to spread love and light. And as we had in moving forward, you know, all that they're into is positive change. They just want positivity. They're super non-confrontational, and arguing is like not in their vocabulary. Then in the Libra, I definitely see Libra energy. So your future spouse may be a Libra. He or she is definitely diplomatic, super gracious, always wants harmony and balance. So the Libra is somebody who always seeks to balance things out, who always seeks to have a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So know that that is a really amazing trait for a spouse to have. Know that, you know, being really gracious about it and always trying to level things out is something that will help you avoid arguments. So if you're pretty stubborn or you have like an ego, then that could be really helpful, being with somebody who just likes balance and is super non-confrontational. Then in Pluto, I see that your future spouse is somebody who has this ability to transform. Okay, there's somebody who can change according to what is required. And I definitely see that rebirth has taught them that, you know, as we had into rebirth. I definitely see that they've taken leaps of faith where they weren't sure how things would turn out, but they knew that they had to change something about themselves. They knew that they couldn't continue going on like this. So I definitely see that their ability to transform makes them very multifaceted. It gives them a lot of layers, and it gives them like this air of mystery, because you're like, wow, like how can this person once be a perfect gentleman, then, you know, have like this raunchy makeout sesh, then the next minute be like super goofy. So obviously that's just like an example. Whoever your spouse is, they're very multifaceted and they have a lot of different ways to them, which makes things super interesting and super intriguing. So group number 2, that is the reading that I received for you. I hope you enjoyed it and found it insightful, and I will see you in my next video. Hello, group number 3, you chose the Amber. Welcome to your reading about your future spouse. First off, a little something about why you may have chosen the Amber. So group number 3, the Amber is not actually a stone or a mineral. It is actually like tree resin, really like hardened tree resin. So the Amber is for anybody who needs to recharge good vibes, anybody who feels like they just need like a hug from the universe, who feels like they just need a hug of warm sunlight, of positivity. So, you know, you may not be like in a super dark place or in a place of agony or anything like that. You just feel like you need a little bit of warmth. So aside from the fact that the stone is super gorgeous, that may be the reason why you were drawn to it. Okay, so let's move further into your reading about your spouse. So we have choices as well as the dragonfly. So group number 3, I definitely see that your future spouse is somebody who loves to live life to the fullest. Your future husband or wife is somebody who just loves to have a good time and loves to live in the moment. So I definitely see here somebody who is really mindful, somebody who doesn't like to dwell on the past too much. So obviously that has positives and negatives. So it is great to be around somebody who is so in the present moment and who isn't so concerned about the past or the future. Like, it just helps so much with just focusing on what's going on right now. But you may be somebody who likes to plan ahead a little bit, or you would like someone who plans ahead a little more. And I see that that may be a point where there's a little bit of friction, or where you feel like your spouse could polish themselves a little bit. In the choices, I see that your future spouse always wants to make the best choices, the most positive choices, choices that are the most beneficial to everybody involved. So that is a great thing. Group number 3, the spouse that is meant to be with you, is somebody who is always looking out for everybody, is somebody who always wants, you know, the best, and who really looks into all the choices that he or she has in order to dissect each and every one to then move on to making the best choice. So I definitely see somebody who is super caring in that sense. And we have prosperity, we have healer, we have beloved, as well as trust. So group number 3, I definitely see that you have to prepare yourself for somebody who is really into being physical, somebody who loves love, somebody who needs a lot of attention. So I definitely see that romance is something that is super important to them. Romance is something that they thrive off of, and their love language may just be, you know, touch. It may just be spending quality time as well as being really intimate and physical. So group number 3, that is what I see for your future spouse so far. And I definitely see here your future spouse is somebody who trusts. There's somebody who is super trusting, who is maybe even a little bit naive, but it's okay because, you know, your future spouse, there's no reason why you would hurt them or why you would do anything bad to them. So I definitely see that they have a lot of faith always, and they always believe that, you know, they can accomplish a lot, which leads me to think that there's somebody who is sort of like in the tarot cards, the Fool, you know, who just goes through life sort of hoping for the best and thinking the best of situations, and then it actually fabricates into the best. Like, do you know those kind of people who always just sort of go with the flow and always just think like, oh, it's gonna work out, and it actually works out for them, and you're like, how are they doing this? So group number 3, moving further into your reading, in prosperity, I definitely see that your future spouse is somebody who is prosperous, somebody with a good income, manages their finances with love, if you know what I mean. They're very like meticulous about their finances. They're somebody who knows exactly where their money is going. Money management is something that is important to them and something that they do religiously. So group number 3, know that while your future spouse is somebody who is doing well financially in the earthly realms, you also need to know that there's a reason why they're doing well, and it's because they're really smart with their money. They're somebody who knows exactly where their money is going and knows exactly what they're going to be spending their money on. So yes, they're doing well financially, but they definitely have an opinion about how money should be spent. And in the healer, I see that your future spouse is somebody who has this healing gift when it comes to you, who has this sort of trait where they always restore your faith, where you feel like they can always make you laugh when you're down. They can always make you smile when you feel like crying. They just have this natural aura about them that just puts you in a better place and heals you whenever you feel like you need it. So I definitely see that your future spouse is somebody who you will know is your twin flame. As you know, there's a lot of romantic energy, there's a lot of sexual energy, and then at the same time, whenever your day is going bad, whenever you need a pick-me-up, they have the ability to do that, and they're like one of the only ones who are able to do that. So moving further into your reading, we have trust as well as music. So trust showed up in your reading again, which leads me to think that your future spouse is somebody who has a lot of trust in themselves as well, who is somebody who has a lot of trust in their dreams as well as the career path that they have chosen. So the fact that they're doing well financially leads me to think that that is something that has instilled a lot of trust in them, a lot of confidence. So I definitely see in your future spouse somebody who is confident in their choices, somebody who trusts that things will turn out for the better, and hey, things always do turn out for the better for them. So in music, I see that their connection to music is something that heals them, is something that truly brings them out of their shell and sort of makes them really happy. So the fact that they love to live life fullest as well as, you know, having music show up in your reading, there's a reason for it. So I definitely feel like living life to their fullest combined with music means that your future spouse is somebody who maybe likes to dance, who likes to go out, who likes to shake their booty, and, you know, who loves to just hear music, concerts, things like that. Maybe they make their own music as like a hobby. I definitely see that that is a way that they touch people, and that is a way that they truly, you know, spend quality time with themselves, quality alone time. So we have the Cancer as well as the 9th house. So in the Cancer, I definitely see very like sensitive energy. I definitely see emotional energy and energy just that is super caring and loving when it comes to friends and family. So one of the most out there Cancer traits is the fact that a Cancer will protect its family and loved ones in a super like strong way. A Cancer will never allow their family members to get hurt, will always make sure that they're safe. So I definitely see that your future spouse is somebody who not only provides financially, but is also there to protect you, is also there to be super caring and loving. But you know, being really sensitive can be sometimes difficult to deal with. So arguments may arise because they're pretty sensitive and because they may sometimes, you know, hold grudges and sometimes feel a certain way if you say something. So I definitely see that that is maybe a point of friction. In the 9th house, I see that they're super like open-minded, okay? They've broadened their horizons spiritually, academically. They've maybe like traveled quite a bit in their life. And I definitely see that there's somebody who is educated, okay? They're an academic. There's somebody who believes in spirituality as well as astrology. And at the same time, they may have like a diploma or a degree of something that is seen in the academics as something that's super high up and something that's intellectually really challenging. So I definitely see somebody really smart here, group number 3. I definitely feel in the 9th house, the fact that this person is so open just shows that they're not narrow-minded. It just shows that there's somebody who is educated and not somebody who is ignorant, because often ignorance is just when people are uneducated. It's not that they're actually, you know, that they have any like bad intent. They just don't know better. But in your spouse, I see that they're super smart, and that leads them to just trust that everything will go well because they know they have everything going for them. They know that, you know, life is here to serve them, which also leads me to think that they are kind of keen on spirituality, and that may be a really nice topic of conversation between the two of you. Yeah, overall, that is the reading that I received for you, group number 3, on your future spouse. I hope you enjoyed it and found it insightful, and I will see you in my next reading. Hello, group number 4, and welcome to your reading about your future spouse. So you chose the fluorite. So first and foremost, group number 4, I want to talk to you about why you may have chosen the fluorite, aside from the fact that it is a beautiful mineral. The fluorite is for anybody who needs to like sharpen their focus, for anybody who is constantly distracted and who just wants to spend like 20 minutes reading a book, who just wants to spend a little bit of time focusing on their work, but you constantly feel tempted to check your phone, you constantly feel tempted to see what's going on. And group number 4, what I want you to know is that there are a lot of different causes for this. I mean, obviously, if you're struggling with something like ADHD, if you're struggling with depression, anxiety, and eating disorder, all of those things sort of gnaw away at your concentration and your capability for concentration. But group number 4, the good thing about lack of focus and concentration is the fact that you can relearn it. It's like a muscle, but you have to exercise it and you have to work on it. So I know, very unrelated to your spouse, but I just felt like that information was important for you, group number 4. So let us move further into your reading about your future spouse. So we have resilience as well as gratitude. So group number 4, I definitely see that your future spouse is somebody who has gone through a lot of hardships. There's somebody who has had to learn to be resilient, strong, and not really care about what other people think. So I definitely see that your future spouse, your future husband or wife, is somebody who may have been bullied as a child, is somebody who has had like a traumatic time where they were tested as a person. They had to go through a time where they had to fight, where they had to rise above tribulations, and that has shaped them into who they are today. So group number 4, definitely be easy on your partner. Know that he or she has been through a lot. He or she has had to come from a place where they may have been the target of a lot of abuse, the target of a lot of things that other people may not have had to go through. So that is why they are who they are today. That is maybe why they are so overly focused, and that may be why you chose the fluorite, because this partner is somebody who is so into their goal and so like just focused on doing just that it can sometimes be hard to grab their attention. But they're like that because they've been through hard times and they don't want to let their goals, achievements out of sight. So moving further into your reading, we have gratitude. So I definitely see that nevertheless, they're grateful for everything and everyone in their life. They're somebody who is super grateful for even the littlest things. So that just leads me to think even more that they've come from a really tough upbringing. Maybe they were very poor growing up. They didn't really have a lot to choose from. They didn't really have a childhood where they could actually be a child. So I definitely see that that has shaped them to be somebody who is really grateful and who wants to give their children or whoever is around them a better future. So I definitely see that your future spouse is somebody who is grateful for everything and who just wants to focus on gratitude instead of on pain. So moving further into your reading, we have partnership, we have support, we have awareness, as well as leadership. So group number 4, I definitely see in support that your partner is somebody who needs more rest, okay? They need to nurture themselves more. I definitely see that that may be something where they're lacking, that may be something that is kind of difficult for them to ask for help, to ask somebody like, hey, can you help me with this chore? Or, you know, can I just take a day off? So I definitely see that there's somebody who works really, really hard and who likes to take care of the people around them instead of just taking care of themselves. And in leadership, I definitely see that they have that like leadership role. I definitely see that they inspire others, they empower others, and they have that role where they're telling people, you know, what direction to go in. So that definitely has to do with their career as well as with who they are as a person. So I definitely feel like there's somebody who may have an issue if you're very opinionated, because they want to lead. They want to be the one who's sort of, you know, saying what direction your marriage is going in. So I definitely want you to know that they just want the best. They just want to make sure that things go well. They just want to make sure that they don't go into a space where there is, for instance, financial scarcity, and don't be so hard on them because of it. Because leadership, often when somebody is a leader in their job, it's not always easy for them to come home and leave that role at the job, because often that becomes part of who they are. And in awareness, I see that they're very self-aware. They're somebody who likes to live in the moment and knows the benefits of living in the moment. So I definitely see that your future spouse is somebody who is really conscious of their thoughts. They're somebody who likes to look for signs and seek guidance in it. So if your future spouse, for instance, sees that in this very moment, you know, something could be improved to just improve life as a whole in the greater picture, that is something that they're going to do. There's somebody who is super conscious of their surroundings, super conscious of who they are as a person, and they just basically want to do the best. They just like never want to go back to that place that they came from. And in the partnership, I see that teamwork is something that makes the dream work. I like love that saying. I definitely see that they just want to find somebody trustworthy to be in a partnership with, and once they have found that person, they build like an amazing, super strong support team, and they just really are into teamwork. They want to do everything together. If there are chores to be done, if there's work to be done, they like to incorporate everybody around. They like to make everyone be a part of it. They feel like there is power in numbers. There is power in making everybody a part of each process. So definitely, you know, be ready to roll up your sleeves with your future spouse. And in writing, I see that they heal, they inspire, they teach people with the words that they use. So they may do a lot of writing in their career, or writing may just be something that they're really good at. Either way, I definitely see that they really inspire with their words. So maybe they're also good at speaking. Maybe when they speak, you know, everybody is like, oh, like what is he or she saying? Like people are interested in what this person has to say. So I definitely feel like they have a very impactful aura, and that comes from the fact that they have so much strength. So I see that everything that they've experienced in their life prior to you, prior to your marriage, has made them really strong and courageous. It has formed them into who they are today, and there is nothing that can really intimidate them these days. There's nobody and no situation that can throw them into a, you know, feeling of anxiety and turmoil. that all does not exist. They're very much aware of who they are, you know, they have this awareness, and they have this awareness of how powerful the mind is. So your future spouse is somebody who knows that they can only be intimidated if they allow themselves to be intimidated. They can only be in a bad place if they allow it. So I definitely see that they have cultivated very positive thinking and really strong thinking and a really strong mindset, which means that they may have a very strong head, okay? But we know how strong-headed situations can go. So moving further into the reading, we have the Scorpio as well as Saturn. So in the Scorpio, you know, there is Scorpio energy here surrounding this person that you're supposed to be with, that you're going to marry. So I definitely see that if they're not a Scorpio, they have the Scorpio energy, and it's very intense. It's energy that is super thoughtful and like really like magnetic and charming. So as I said, like they may be the kind of person that comes into a room and everyone wants to get up and know them. Everyone is sort of curious about them. You see people glancing at them. So they're definitely somebody who is mysterious, and at the same time they can be a little bit possessive. They can be a little bit jealous at times. So I definitely want you to know that your future spouse has no sort of bad intent here. They're just somebody who is very protective over who is in their life, and they can show that sometimes by being a little bit jealous. It can come out by them being a little bit possessive and jealous, but you know, there are ways to speak about that and to control that. And then Saturn, I see that they're very much the kind of person who accepts a good challenge. They're somebody who loves to further their wisdom, and they're the kind of person who feels like the more that they see, the less that they know. So they're not somebody who is a know-it-all. They're not somebody who feels like because they've been through so much and because they've become really strong and sort of like a leader, that doesn't make them think that they know everything. Like, it's actually the complete opposite. They constantly feel like they can learn from people. Your future husband or wife constantly feels like they can better themselves and feels like it is their duty to do so. So group number 4, that is the reading that I received for you regarding your future spouse. I hope you enjoyed it and found it really insightful, and I will see you in my next reading.